Microsoft has announced that there are currently no plans to increase prices for the Xbox Series X and S. However, that kind of has a very important word in it, doesn't it? Like currently, right? Like that implies a lot that like, oh, well, right now we don't have intentions of that. There's a lot of ways to infer what that means, right? But people are sort of having a field day with this. They basically said that they're not interested in increasing the price of the Xbox Series X or S for this holiday season at the current time, right? And that keeping that price the same is very important for this particular season, which, hey, I get it. It makes sense. How do you take the idea that how would you feel if they decided to increase the prices of their consoles?
It's seemingly unprecedented. Most of the time video game consoles go down. I get that. I think it is part of the reality of the world that we're in here. And I think part of it is that technology is getting more and more expensive. I mean, the fact that an Xbox Series X is cheaper than the price of a graphics card that you need for a gaming PC.
Yeah.
Like it's like similar to that. And like how affordable these consoles are and how it's pretty frequent that these consoles are selling at a loss for, except for Nintendo because they're cheap like that. But that these consoles are selling for a loss and like it makes sense to me. And there's clearly a demand for it and the market is still calling for people to buy these things. And yeah, it's easier to buy a Series X now. It's easier to buy a PlayStation 5 now. Not accessibly easy, but easier. Yeah. Like you can get these things, and if people are still willing to pay money for it, you saw how they spent so much more money on eBay and other places to buy it, resale and stuff. If people are upset with it, they'll stop buying it, and if people stop buying it, they'll lower the prices. So I think it only is going to make sense that prices of things in video games go up, specifically when we keep talking about, the crunch culture, how much video games are to make, how much it costs to make good video games, how voice actors aren't getting paid enough, how game testers aren't getting paid enough, how, all these people, like there's so many people that deserve to get more money, and how they get more money? Raise the price of things. Right. Like that's the easiest way to do that. So yeah, I think this is bound to happen. Does this imply that Game Pass is going up too?
Okay, so here's the thing. It doesn't imply anything. What it says. We are inferring that they are saying prices aren't changing right now, but they will in the future, and that's an inference based on like what. The specific wording that they used, right? It could mean that in the future, prices for things will go up. But they didn't say that. Like, I know that they can't say that, but it could mean that they're going to go up, that Game Pass is going to go up, that other things are going to go up. But if they are planning on releasing that, like, family plan for what, $30, which is, I think... Did we get confirmation on that? I thought we did, right? Or was that just a rumor?
I know it was like they were testing it in some places, so yes.
Right, but like if they are planning on doing that for $30 and Game Pass Ultimate right now is $15 for one, it would be the sort of thing where like if that's going to be $30 and you're going to raise the price to at least $20 for one person, then like you're just going to get a bunch of people doing the family pass and you're going to be losing out on money, right? You're going to be losing out on cash from that. So I don't know. I've seen a lot of people just like raising the alarm bells about this, that they are going to be increasing their prices. And I'm not sure yet based on the way that they're speaking. It's a calculated way, right? It leaves a lot of ambiguity in the air about like what they are planning on doing, because currently they're not changing anything. But what that does imply is that in the future, they might be changing all sorts of things. But yeah, I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure yet. We sort of talked about this with the prices of the PS5 going up, where like it just doesn't make sense, especially because of like how little they actually increase the prices of like by $50 ish, most places. It would be odd To me, the Xbox Series S, the selling point is it is so great because it's so cheap. And if you are going to raise that price, let's say $100 so that it's $400 as opposed to $300, like I think it really starts to lose a lot of its shine and its merit as an inexpensive console, right? I don't know. Do you know what I'm sort of saying there?
Yeah, the way I see it, the console side of things, I think console prices are going up, and I really feel like that Microsoft is being very forward thinking here about how do you make gaming more affordable to people. And if you can stream your games from anywhere and you don't need a console, then you don't have to rely on that investment that most of these companies lose money on anyway. So I
Which,
think,
by the way, they said, I had this in front of me. I don't have it right now, but they said that they're losing $200 on every Xbox console, at least.
So, I mean, that's
Xbox
exactly
console.
what I mean. So they're losing that much money. Raising it doesn't really, is a drop in the bucket. I'm sure it helps a little bit, but like they still lose money on that. So like, and part of that is because this technology is expensive and it keeps getting more expensive, and prices have been relatively low for these things for a long time. I mean, the Series S, you just said, is $300.
And for what it's worth, there is not, in my opinion, there is nothing on the Xbox Series X or S or PS5 that truly warrants the new hardware. I mean, like a handful of small examples. Returnal, end of list. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I would say it probably makes it a little bit easier for game developers to make stuff that they don't have to fully optimize everything. Like,
of course,
the amount of time it took to make The Last of Us Part 2 look like it did. Obviously, it would be easier to do that on a PS5 than it would be on a PS4. So I agree that the graphical shifts aren't like crazy. But like, the Series S is still awesome. You get Gamepass. There's so many things that you can get on that. You can still stream stuff through it. Like, there's so much that you could do on that Series S, and it's so cheap and affordable that anyone can play it. So I really think Microsoft is being so forward thinking by looking to streaming. And streaming is not perfect, but like, streaming is going to be the thing. That is going to be the thing to make more profit. That is going to be taking out the middleman about shipping the hardware to people, to stores, to having people do that. All this kerfuffle about not being able to do it. Can you imagine if, like, on launch day of PS5, if it was just like a stick that people could put into their TV, or like a thing that they just turn on the internet, and then every single person who wants to play Astro's Playroom day one could just have done it without even having to worry about getting in line? Like, who wouldn't want that? That's a better thing for consumers, for PlayStation, for anyone who does that. So, yeah, I think, to me, that is like inevitable. I think prices are going to go up. Things are getting more expensive. Game Pass going up, I know that's like still one of the best deals in gaming. I've not really touched that much of my Game Pass, like, to the point where I've really invested in it for a while. And I just had another one of my every 3 months, $45 charges come up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's how they're getting you. That's how they're getting all this money.
you played Plague Tale?
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, I know what you're saying.
No. I mean, like, honestly, like, it is such a great deal, but like, at a certain point, like, when I'm playing these new games, I'm trying to think of the last game I sat down and finished that I could only play on Game Pass. He says buying Persona 5 Royal for Switch when I can play it for free, but like, there you go. And yeah, I played Plague Tale and everything, and I think like there's definitely things that I get use out of that. And not that I'm saying I'm like, I can't have, like, I'm privileged enough to be able to afford that every 3 months and like be fine with it. But like, that's a different story than if it's $20 a month and then it becomes $60 every 3 months, and then it's like, well, I could just wait to play Plague Tale.
Yeah.
But,
and to clarify, this is what Phil Spencer said in a event for what is this? WSJ Live. I just had that in front of me. Washington Street Journal?
Wall Street Journal?
Wall Street Journal? Yeah, Wall Street Journal Live. He said, I do think at some point we'll have to raise the prices on certain things, but going into this holiday season, we thought it was important to maintain prices. We've held prices on our consoles, we've held prices on our games and our subscription. I don't think we'll be able to do that forever. I do think at some point we'll have to raise the prices on certain things. So, I mean, that is a very ambiguous answer, right? It could be a lot of things. He does mention consoles, subscription prices, and games. those are the three things they sell, right? And he says at some point, I don't know, like to me, this is ambiguous enough to have to say, like, I don't know at this point what there is that we can really concretely say about this other than like, hey, it would suck if those prices went up, because then I think recommending someone buy a new console like gets tougher in my opinion.
I think at a certain point, if you're Phil Spencer, why do you fucking talk anymore? Because really part of this is him just trying to give a nice, honest answer. And people are like, what, you're saying it's going to go up? What are you talking about? It's going up? Like headlines come off it. We talk about it for like 15 minutes. And like, it just is like one of those things like, all right. He's just saying something. He's probably reading this and he's like,
he's probably listening because he's one of our listeners.
He's our best friend. I throw every major decision I make by him in terms of my spending on video games. And he's really supportive. This
is true. He told me this. He texted me this, Phil, because we call him Phil.
You have his number?
Yeah, we're in the group chat. He's the you haven't saved it yet.
Oh, okay. He's the one I don't know. Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense. I thought he was really insightful.
Because he says he doesn't listen to the podcast, but he watches all the pod clips on YouTube.
Yeah, every day. Yeah.
All the new ones that we post. But so there you go. Who knows what this means for the future? But I don't know. It seems like they will potentially increase prices at some point, but we'll just have to stay tuned to find out when that is.